Okay, so we're going to talk about supplies, and I have all kinds of things here, and what I'm going to do is focus on a color palette as I talk about the supplies, and I'm going to create a sampling of that color palette as I go along. So if you would like to follow along in that, then I recommend that you have one piece of the Strathmore Tone Tanned mixed media paper. This is the paper that we will do our lesson on, and this one is a 9x12 just because it's what I have. We'll do our lesson on 11x14. I got a larger piece of paper because when I was doing a demo of the color palette, I started to run out of room, and so I wanted a little bit more room for showing you how I created my color card. We're going to include some collage papers on here, and so I'm going to tell you all of the supplies that I got out, the supplies that I went through my cabinets and my baskets and my cubbies for are all related to my color palette. So I've got paints and crayons and pencils and gelatos, anything that is within the color palette that I want to use. Collage papers. So the colors I'm going to be focusing on are my favorite Daniel Smith Payne's Blue Gray. This is, let's see, and I have that tube here because I need to fill my palette. So Daniel Smith Payne's Blue Gray, and then this is the transparent red iron oxide by M. Graham and Company, and I'm just looking for kind of a rusty red color. So if you don't have this but you have something similar or can mix it with some of your other colors, that's great. I have a crayon, and it's kind of a light brownish color, and this is from Artist's Loft, which is Michael's brand. That's a big box art craft store here in the United States. I've got, let's see, a couple other crayons. I have a Neocolor crayon in like a yellow ochre, and I have a Neocolor crayon in, I think this is like a gray sepia. It's a sepia, so it's kind of a brown gray, and you'll see it as I create the color palette. And then I went through my colored pencils. These are both watercolor pencils and just regular colored pencils, so they just were all within the same color palette. And I've got burnt ochre, pale terracotta, mahogany, mineral orange, violet red, and then I do also have a Stabilo all pencil in black. I have a pastel that is also kind of that reddish rusty color, and then these were some of my gelatos. These are more of a pastel, so that I have some lighter tones to work with my darker tones. My collage papers are also going to be in the same color palette, and some of these are papers that I have made, and some are papers that I have purchased. So these are just scraps where I've wiped paint off on deli paper, and I like the deli paper that is a tan color because that is the color paper I mostly use to work on. And I just got this on Amazon, and there's some scraps here. These are some other scraps. I really like to use the reds and the turquoises. This is more deli paper. It's just scrap. I've just wiped paint off on it, and it happens to be the color palettes that I like to use. And then some of the papers that I've purchased. I love this turquoise or teal marbled paper. I have some butterfly wings. I have some other darker teal paper that has text on it. So just having a variety of papers that you can choose from. And we will use collage papers to make the gown in our painting. You'll need a watercolor palette. You'll need your Strathmore Tone Tan mixed media paper. This is the 11 by 14 size. This is what you'll do your drawing on. And you'll need a smaller size for your color palette card. And you could use, if you bought a pad of this paper, just use one of these pieces and cut it in half, because you probably won't need the whole thing. I just have them in all sizes, so I'm going to get some of this out of the way, and we will make our watercolor card palette card, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I also have some acrylic ink that is in that terracotta color. So I'm going to start with filling my watercolor palettes. I have a couple of paper towels, and I have a just a jar of water and a brush. For drawing the image, you will need your favorite pencil, an eraser. That's it. Nothing fancy. I would have done this last night and let it dry, but I didn't realize when I was going to film today that I needed it, but that's okay. That's okay. It's all okay. So I'm going to start by getting my paintbrush, and I'm just using a small round size 4. It doesn't matter really what size you're using for this. And this is going to be kind of sticky because I just put it in. But I just want to see what the color looks like. I'm going to make some squares of these different colors. And the watercolor ones and the crayons are water soluble, some of the watercolor pencils, so I will probably also use this color card to blend the colors together and see what happens. Like, what will happen if I layer those over each other or mix them together. So let's see what happens. And I like to start one at the top and one at the bottom. And then I'm just going to bring them up together. I think it's going to be kind of a greenish color that I'm not going to like it very much. Get a little bit closer for you so you can see what color that looks like. So it's kind of a green brown, and the reason it's important to do that is because you may not want that color in your figure, and so it's important to know in advance how the colors blend together. The other watercolor that I have on here that is kind of a just in case is this cobalt teal. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one. And I know that I like the cobalt teal and the Payne's blue gray together because I use that a lot to desaturate the cobalt teal and get kind of a lighter smoky color. So we'll do that. And then let's see what happens when we do the cobalt teal with the red iron oxide. We'll probably get a yucky brown. Let's see. Or a green. Yeah, kind of a green color. Okay, so those are my watercolors, my paints. The crayons, I have let's see, Artist Loft, and I don't know, it's just like a light brown. I'm not sure what the color is. This is an ochre, yellow ochre, neocolor. This is a neocolor sepia. It's kind of a gray. Now these all will also blend with water. And so again, it's important to know your tools because you may or may not want them to blend. So let's just see what that looks like. I'm going to leave part of it in crayon mode so I can just see what that looks like. I like the roughness of the crayon. And you can see how much brighter the yellow ochre is than that other light brown. And the sepia, that's a pretty muddy gray, which I primarily like for lines, not so much for paint. Okay, and then we also have these pastels that I'm gonna bring in. Let's see, I'm gonna do, this one is, these gelatos are by Faber-Castell, and this one is pretty old. It's probably 10 years old, and so it doesn't have a name on it. It might be, it's probably close to the cotton candy color, but you can use any, you know, light blue color crayon that you have, or pencil. This one is also Faber-Castell. This is in their Gelato Pastel collection and Aqua Dolce, which I like just for that lighter color tone. I got out another Faber-Castell pastel in caramel. And I have, this one is also the pastel collection, and this is watermelon. And the fun thing about these is that they do blend with watercolor. They blend with water like a watercolor. And they also smudge, which I did not get my smudger, so hang on. And this is just a makeup sponge. And so it will blend. So it gives you, what I like about these different tools, so you see this is the blended, this is with water. I like the different tools because I can get different textures in my drawing. Okay, and let's see, I'm also going to put my pencils on here so I know what colors they look like. This one is violet red, and I'm going to put it down here with my pinks. This one is almost the same color as the pastel. This is mahogany. Mahogany, pale terracotta, burnt ochre. This is really kind of a use what you have lesson. We're going to draw, we're going to do some mark making, we're going to do some collage, a little bit of everything. And this is mineral orange. So you can see that these colors are kind of similar to this one up here. And let's see, did I do this one? Burnt ochre? I don't even remember. How many do I have? 5? Yeah. This one, violet red, mahogany, pale terracotta, burnt, oop, just put my hand in that. Burnt ochre is kind of like this. Up here. Okay, I'm also, let's see, I also have this terracotta acrylic ink, and I'm going to put some of that right here. Just, it's another option. And then I'm going to get some of my papers and decide what I like here. I have some of these that I made, so this might go as part of her gown, or this one, and looking at combining, you know, text and pattern, that might go well together. So I think I'm going to cut a piece of this. And a piece of this. As options for my paper. I also have these dots that I made that I really like. So if you are into making your own papers, I would recommend pulling out your stash and looking through those. Let's see. I don't want to cut this one because I like it, so I may just clip it, paper clip it. And you can use, you know, whatever adhesive you have on hand. For this card, I'm just using my cheap Mod Podge. When I do a really nice piece of work that I plan to sell, I'm going to be sure to use my either Liquitex medium or my golden matte medium. But for this, I'm just using this. I would even use a glue stick here if I had it in my hand. But this is kind of the planner card, and what I'll refer to throughout the lesson for my colors. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this because I can make more. I think it's good to experiment with gluing down your papers also because you don't know how it will react with the glue. Some papers are thicker and need stronger glue. Alright. Oh, my cap broke on my watercolor, poor thing. Okay, and I'm also going to write down what these are. This is Payne's Blue Gray, and I'm just using the initials PBG because I know what that is. This is Red Iron Oxide. Cobalt Teal. And this is a mix of those. And this is PBG plus teal. And this is teal plus red. Red iron oxide. So I'm just going to go through and, you know, name all of these so I know what that is. remember what my pencils are. This one was this burnt ochre. That's mineral orange. And I don't know what color this is. I'm just going to say light brown, light brown. And I'm going to put AL for Artist Loft. Oop, I keep getting my hand in that one. I'm going to dab it. This is Neocolor. Now I may or may not use all of these colors. I actually probably will, but you know, you don't have to. I do like to listen to the painting as it's developing, and sometimes things go in a different direction. Sometimes I film my supplies video last because what I used during the painting can change, but I feel pretty confident about what we're doing in the lesson, so I am going for it. Just be forewarned, things can change. And so I encourage you also to listen to whatever that creative voice is inside you, and who you're developing as you're drawing and painting. I kind of start to have a conversation with the drawing, and you know, ask it, what do you want to be? What do you want the color of your dress to be? Let's see, this is, okay, so these were the Faber-Castell. I'm just going to put FC. Old Blue, because it doesn't have a name. It's that Aqua Dolce. This is Caramel. Watermelon. Okay, and these are my watercolor pencils by Payne. This is, problem with it being a lefty is you get your hand in everything. I'm just going to say these are Payne pencils. Red Violet. Red Violet. This is pale terracotta. Mineral orange. I actually think this is mahogany. This is pale terracotta. Mahogany and burnt ochre. Alright, and this is, I got this on sale at the art store, Red Earth acrylic ink by Daler Rowney. So I've got a lot of earthy tones in here. I've got the red iron oxide, burnt ochre, mineral orange, yellow ochre, sepia, red earth, terracotta, kind of an earthy feel to it. And now that the watercolors have dried, these ones that I mixed, I kind of really like this teal and red iron oxide and how that mixed. I don't know if you can see that, but I kind of like that. It reminds me of a southwest sunset or something like that. And I like these as well. And these are sample papers that I plan to use for the gown. So I would, recommend getting out the tools and supplies that you want to use. At minimum, lay them down and experiment with them and see how they work, how they feel in your hand, and then you have a nice color reference card to refer to for this project and future projects. All right, on to drawing.